Welcome everybody. Come on in. Get your seats and welcome to the How to Get Creative show on a drama-free Friday. I'm Barb Owen, your host, and you know what? Together we're going to have some fun today because it's Friday. It's my favorite day of the week. So come on in and enjoy some calm in the storm. Hi, Margaret. Hi, is it Miki? I hope. Miki, tell me if that's how I say your name. From Belgium, welcome. That's great to have you join us. It's great to have everybody here. So, hot Arizona and Belgium so far. Hey, there's Spats, Sherry Spats from Oregon. Mika. Gotta write that down. Try to write these things down so I remember next time. All right. So how's everybody doing today? Are you guys hot? If you're in the northern hemisphere, I think it's safe to say that you're hot. This is just a wild guess. Just a wild guess. It's a Dutch name. Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you for telling me how to pronounce it. Hi, Tracy. Good to see you. I haven't seen you for a long time. Oh, 112. Oh, 112 in Arizona. Oh, my goodness. Okay. SG fan. Okay, SG. I'm just going to call you SG from the Netherlands. Oh, that's great. Hi, Julie from the UK. Hi, Linda. Just come on in, get comfortable. We're just chatting for a minute. I usually just chat for a little bit before we get going. And yeah, and then we're gonna talk, and I'm gonna show you some stuff, and then we're gonna play, and we're just gonna enjoy the day, huh? Tracy's little boy is keeping her busy now. I bet he is. How old is he now? He's got to be a few months old, right? Or is he a year yet? I can't remember. It seems like yesterday you had that little baby. I bet you're enjoying him too. There's nothing quite as nice as having little boys around, I'll tell you. Although, I don't know, having little girls is pretty cool too. Yeah, having little girls is pretty darn sweet too. I didn't have any little girls of my own, but I've certainly collected and adopted some of them. Oh, he's a year now. Wow. Hi, Miriam. Yeah, on the 20. Wow, year old. Amazing how time just goes zipping by. I know when you're dealing with some of those days that you have to deal with the baby. I know they seem like they're like months long, but trust me, it goes by in a hurry. I know we all tell you that, right? Hi, Dawn. Oh, Dawn's working, so you can't be chatty. That's okay. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for asking, Miriam. And how are you? Other than a little bit hot. You know, it's just that way here at this time of the year. It's just hot. That's all. So having a few little sips of tea, and then we'll move the illegal liquids off the table. Hey, Janice. Hi, Petka. Just kind of letting everybody come in and find a spot, get settled, get something to, if you want something to drink, let you get that taken care of, and then we're just going to chat for a minute. The Muppet's over there. Muppet's my dog. She's over there watching everybody. She's got her ears all perked up. She's listening just to make sure that everything's the way it's supposed to be in the world, Oh, good. I'm so glad you're here too, Miriam. Hi, Denise. Welcome. Hi, Linda. So far we've got 2 Lindas. Oh, let's see. Okay. I'm going to guess again. Hi, Kate. Hi, Eileen. Okay, you're going to have to tell me if I say this right, because we've been chatting on the comments. Is it Ilona? I need you to correct me if that's not right. Ilona's in the UK. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Iffy, better known as Sherry Ann. So, yeah, I need to know if I'm saying your name right because I'm not sure. And I do like to say people's names correctly if at all possible. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a good Friday. Cheers to everybody, wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for joining me. It's really fun. Hey, Jan. Jan from Quail Hill. Hi, Shauna. Boy, we've got a group they're just flooding in. It's perfect, Ilona. Okay, thank you. And I'm saying Sherry Ann correctly. Okay, good. Hi, Ian. And Julie's in the UK too. I think we have quite a few people that joined from the UK. Hello to Mr. Bear also. Hi, Sue. Let's see, what is that? Betty? Sorry, sometimes the print's a little small. I have to kind of tip my head so I can see. Betty and Lori. Hi, Lori. Okay, so everybody's just kind of coming in, and if I don't happen to greet you by name, please know and communicate to everybody that you are welcome to each other. Hi, Jeanette. Hi, Authors Unknown is Ashley. Hi, Ashley. So you guys can chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to get the illegal fluids moved off my table if I can figure out how to get rid of them. I got myself hemmed in here today. Okay, maybe I can just sneak over here and get rid of them because we need to get started. Okay, they're safely off the table. Hello, Mr. Bear and Misty. I'm glad Misty's doing okay. All right, I'm sorry for the roar that you'll hear in the background. That's the air conditioner. When I'm recording classes, I don't have that on. But I will tell you, it's just, I can't do it without it right now. It's just too hot here. I don't know what it's supposed to get up to today, but the humidity is what gets us. And I know there are people who don't have air conditioning, and my heart absolutely aches for you if you don't have air conditioning and you're dealing with this kind of humidity and heat and so forth. I'm just extremely grateful, extremely grateful to have air conditioning. I will just say this. If I didn't have air conditioning, I would not be streaming. I would just not be streaming. That's all there is to that. Hello, Sherry. Okay. And from the Netherlands, is it Frederica? I'm going to guess. I'm going to say Frederica. Hey, Jamie. Good to see you. Are you freezing in the UK? Are you, Ian? Are you freezing over there? Whew, goodness. Okay, so let's get started. So the world went crazy again this week, and you know, sometimes I just pretty much feel like I have to acknowledge that, so you don't think that I'm Pollyanna, have my head stuck in the sand all the time. But you know what? There's nothing that we can do about it for the next couple of hours, and so what we're going to do is just send really good energy and good thoughts and everything to the people of France who again sustained a really horrific attack on them. I don't, you know, I'm just going to put it out there. I don't get it. I don't understand. And that's all I can say is I don't understand it. So you know what we're going to do? We are going to just take a break, and we're just going to go to Drama Free Friday, and we're going to just pretend that the world isn't so crazy for the next couple of hours. And then if there's something that we need to do or can do to make a difference, then that's what we should do. But for the next couple of hours, we're just going to we're going to put some art and some color and some fun and some really positive energy out there. And and do whatever we can in that way. So, okay, so let me catch up on the chat for a second. Jamie's eating Cheetos. She's just eating Cheetos, so she doesn't want to get orange stuff all over her keyboard. I know what that's all about. Oh, Miriam says they have 8 months of summer. Oh, my goodness. Ah, goodness gracious. Ms. Kawai. Let's see, anybody? And there's Ilona talking about, oh, you have black brush off for me? You're kidding me. You're kidding me. Oh, that's so nice of you. We'll have to catch up on well, leave me a comment in the video after one of the videos, not necessarily on the live chat, on the live stream, but if you just leave a comment on one of the other videos, Ilona, that would just be super. I would just hug your neck. I'm not kidding. I will just hug your neck. Bless you. Oh, thanks, Lori. Lori says she loves Drama Free Friday with Barb and the friends. And Ian says black brush on a water brush is great. I bet it is. I bet it is. We will be playing with that. Oh, how nice. That is so sweet of you. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I have some things I want to show and share with you today. And then I'm going to talk about Mining Your Muse, which is my mixed media workshop, which is starting on Monday, which happens to be my birthday, people. It happens to be my birthday. We're starting a big project, a big workshop, a lot of fun on Monday, and it happens to be my birthday. So there you go. That is my birthday present. That's my birthday present to you guys. I'm sharing something with you that I've worked on a really long time. And yeah, so anyway, we'll talk more about that. First of all, I have some things to share with you. And let's see, I think I'm going to share it with you this way. Okay. So first of all, I want to show you this piece. Now these are printed off from online. So the colors and everything are not going to be true renditions, you know. But this is as good as I could get it. All right. So this is a ceramic tile. You can read down here. It's a ceramic tile that she did with alcohol inks, and she said that she actually made these alcohol inks. She didn't say how she made them, but she said she made alcohol inks. I'm going to guess she made them either with ink refills, like for Copic markers, or you can do them also with Sharpies, which just to tell you the truth, to me, I am just too lazy to do that. It's just so much easier for me to just buy the alcohol inks. I know they're a little pricey, but to me it's just worth it. So that's just me. I just have to be honest. Oh, thank you, everyone. So anyway, this is by Roxine Kendall. I know her as Rocky, and because we've been friends for many, many years. But anyway, I just thought it was really pretty, so I thought I would show that to you. Thanks, Emma. And Sherry Spats, let's see, I can't remember what her, Spatsimus or something like that is her screen name. She's in the chat today, and it's Sherry Starrett. And so she made these the other day. I think it was last week. She said, here, I've got the first one. Here's the first one. And she said, let me read this to you first. She said that she didn't have the Ken Oliver color bursts that I was using last week, so she created these while watching. And she used the jelly plate, a stencil or stencils or a stencil or whatever, acrylics, and Avery labels. So we played around with the labels a few, maybe what, 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks ago maybe. And so she did this with the labels while she was watching last week. So is that cool? And then you notice that these are just the labels. So she took the stuff from around the labels, and Sherry's in the chat. So if you want to ask her any questions, address them to her. And her screen name is Spats. So what she did with this is she created an ATC using the stuff from around the labels. But isn't that pretty? I just thought that was great. What a nice job. Great. Really fun way to use the labels and the stuff that's around them, because they're great. You know, all this good stuff that's around the edges, all of the stuff that's around the edges of the labels, that's all usable stuff. And it's got, you know, the adhesive on the back of them and the color and everything, so why not use them? So thank you so much for sharing that with me, Miss Sherry. I appreciate that. And I have another thing to share with you here in a little bit, but I'm going to wait just a minute on that. Anytime you want to share your art with me, then if you will send it to me on Twitter, that would be great. You could also send it to me you could email it to me also. And you can reach me on email, barb@HowToGetCreative.com. Okay? So thank you so much. I love sharing other people's art. I really love that. It is inspiring not only to me, but it's inspiring to many, many other people. So, okay, so we're going to go through what's going to happen with Mining Your Muse, just so you know. Let me give you a little bit of history on Mining Your Muse. This is a workshop. It's a mixed media workshop that I've been working on for several years. We did kind of a trial run, I don't even know how many years ago. It was quite a few years ago. And so I refined it and retooled it and re-recorded everything and, you know, beefed it all up. And the Mining Your Muse came into being because at one point, I know this is hard to imagine. Sorry, I got to kill the audio. I forgot to do that on my computer, on one of the computers. A few years ago, I absolutely lost all of my creativity. I know that's hard to imagine that could happen to anybody, but it did. So I just completely lost my creativity. It just, and there's lots of reasons for that, which we don't need to go into. But I needed to find that part of me again. And I didn't know what to call that part of me, that thing that, kind of was that spark, that part that, drove the creativity, that allowed it to come out and be expressed. And the creative part of me is such a huge part of me, because I've been doing creative stuff since I was a kid, and I had to find a way to find it again. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to just have to start doing stuff, and I'm going to have to see what that thing is. So basically, that's where Mining Your Muse came about, because I had to dig inside myself, and I had to mine within myself to figure out where that creative spark was, because it just seemed like it was just gone, And so then I started playing around with the concept of, well, what does that look like? If I had to give that spark a form, what would it look like? And so I just started literally playing with stuff. So I gathered a bunch of stuff up, which I call my Muse Mining Toolkit. I gathered up a bunch of supplies and a bunch of stuff, and I just started, making forms that could, that each one of the forms that appeared was an aspect of my muse. And so once I got to the end of that experimentation, I had a number of incarnations in various mixed media forms of of what my muse looked like. And I think of her as a female. Now, she might be a male to somebody else, but to me, she's a female, and so, or has a feminine aspect. And so she changed and morphed as I went through this process. So that's how Mining Your Muse came to be. So you'll see behind me on the table here and you'll see some of the ladies hanging behind me, and you'll see a few more over here. So I'm going to give you a close-up look at them and explain or tell you a little bit more about each one of them. So if you want to check out and get more information about Mining Your Muse, you can see the link in the description right below the video. So, okay. So class number 1, there's actually 12 regular classes, and then there's bonus classes too. So I'm going to take you through kind of what they all are, and I'm going to show you up close and personal what they look like. And then I have another show and share for you at the end, created by one of the people in the audience. I don't know if she's in the audience today or not. So anyway, and I see a few new names that have come in since I looked at the chat. So welcome to everybody who is in the chat that I didn't happen to call you by name. I'm so glad that you're here. So thanks for being here. So class number 1 is called the Muse Mining Toolkit, and that's where we're going to get our stuff together. So I'm going to show you all the stuff I'm going to use, and we're just going to kind of get an overview of everything I'm going to use throughout the whole Muse Mining Your Muse workshop, because it is a mixed media workshop, and so there's lots of different things that I do use. Now, if you don't have everything, that's okay. You can just kind of make substitutions, or you can pick and choose the things that you want to do. So that's the first class. The second class is called Muse Mapping, and so we're going to actually construct a Muse map. So I'm going to give you a peek. This is a Muse map. So you're going to learn how to draw your own Muse map. And so it's going to give you some ideas of proportion and that kind of thing, and a really super easy way to do it. A really super easy way to do it. And from your Muse map, then you're going to make the first incarnation of your Muse. So your Muse might look like this. She might be a dancing Muse. She might be, I don't know, she might be a hugging Muse. She might be a celebrating Muse. She might be, who knows what she is. But anyway, we're going to make a Muse from your very own Muse map. So everybody's is going to look different. Now, there's some other Muses. Let me see if I can get out of the way. Right here. Here's another one made from a Muse map. Here's another one made from a Muse map. And then on this side, there's a couple more. There's this one and this one. So each one of those is made from the Muse map. And every time you make them, they're always going to be different. Always. Hey, Race. So they're always going to be a little different, because it depends on where you are at that time that you're creating your Muse as to what she's going to look like. Maybe she has a face. Maybe she has, like this one, she has a compass for a face. Maybe she has happy on one side and pensive on the other side. It's just all different kinds of stuff. But she's made using colorful magazine images. Okay, then class number 3 is called Artsy Fartsy Muse. And the Artsy Fartsy Muse, here's some examples of the Artsy Fartsy Muse. Okay, so here's one. So she's a fun little Muse. And she's decided that she's going to have a noodle face, and so hence the name Artsy Fartsy Muse. Here's another one. This one's made actually with paper and fabric. And then here's another one, and you'll notice they have interesting arms, and that is part of that comes from your personal expression. What is your Muse? What defines her? Is it an old retired paintbrush? Is it like this one? You can't see. Let me see if I can show you. This is going to be lousy camera work, so Race, don't look. Don't look. Okay, see the one back there, right there on the shelf with the noodle face? She has arms made out of a construction pencil. Oh, terrible camera work, sorry. Ooh. Terrible camera work. Don't let Ray see. He didn't see, did he? Please don't see. I hope he didn't see that. I hope he was taking a break right about then, because I could get in real trouble for such lousy camera work. Anyway, the Artsy Fartsy Muse has a noodle face, and her face is created with just a really fun technique which uses fabric and beads and wire and all kinds of stuff like that. Now, there is a sewing machine used in this class, and it's used quite a lot. So if you are not into sewing machines, this is a good place to learn how to do it, because a sewing machine is one of the greatest creative tools. I am not kidding you, hands down. If you don't sew clothes, it doesn't matter. You need to have a sewing machine to use in your arsenal of tools for creative expression. I'm just saying. I'm biased about that, and I am passionate about that. By now, you guys know that. Okay, then we're going to go into the Muse had a noodle face, and then the Muse wants a face. You know, she's not content with that, right? And and so she is wanting. Sorry, I got distracted. I read the chat. So she wants a face. And so what we're going to do is we're going to work on some little covered button faces. And so I have a couple of examples here. So I'm going to teach you how to draw faces. So although I do have face stamps that are rubber stamps, we're not using them in this class. I'm going to teach you how to draw the faces. And it really works well on these little covered buttons, because you can use the fabric learn how to draw on fabric and how to use the pencils and pens and so forth. But it also is on a sturdy surface like the covered button. It's hard, and so it allows you to really work. Somebody's talking about me because my nose is itching. It's either that or I'm going to kiss a fool. Don't tell Claus Man. But it works so much better on a hard surface like that. If you just put a piece of fabric down on the table and draw a face and try to color it and shade it, it's a little challenging. So this is an easy way to learn how to do it. So that is called head or face first. So that's face first. Okay, class number 5 is called Head This Way. Now, the Muse is quite happy to be able to see and to be able to have a mouth, you know, such as it is. But she's not happy about the fact she doesn't have a brain, because if you can see right here, she clearly has no brain because there's no place to put it. So she's going to have to get a brain, and so I'm going to teach you how to make a little head like this and how to put her brains in. And I'll be teaching you how to do a closed eye expression on this little face, just like this one. Okay? So that one is called Head This Way. So she gets her brain. But you know, muses are not that completely happy. You know, they have a hard time being completely happy because they always want more, and the Muse always changes. I hope you guys know that, because they do. They change and evolve, and they often want more, and the Muse has things to say, and so she now wants a bona fide profile. Now, do you think that we look alike? We probably do, because she's an expression of me. So she now gets a mouth, and she gets a nose, and some simple stitches to hold her brains in place. And so this is called Heads Are Rolling. All right, so after we get those faces completed and learn how to do the various kinds of faces, the Muse decides she wants some soul. And, you know, like I said, she's never completely happy along the way. That's what I found. She kept wanting more, and I needed to make more of an expression and continue to discover what this Muse could do. And so the Muse with soul came into being, and so here is one of the Muses with soul, signified with the heart. These are similar to the soul support dolls that I make and that you've seen before. It's a simplified version of that, and I'll be teaching you how to draw your body pattern, and everybody's will be different because I'll teach you how to draw it, but everybody's going to be different, and so she has to have some soul. And what does that look like to you? You know, how does that express to you? Does that express with a heart? Does it express with words like this one? Does it express with symbols like the butterflies, which is what you see on this one? So this expression of the Muse with soul is butterflies. All of these are very symbolic. All of those all those three, each one of them is symbolic for me. And sound is very symbolic to me. And each of these will incorporate your personal charms or, whatever it is, whether it's word charms or bells or, any kind of thing like that. Your muse is going to tell you what she wants. And this is where we're going to use one of the faces that you've created so far. So this is the tab head, which is the one where she got her brain, except I gave her open eyes so you can see her. So she has open eyes on this one, not closed eyes. So you begin now to see what your muse is going to start wanting more and more. Or you can even use one of the faces that we did in the beginning, the very first one we did with the button, because that's what this one is. And we'll be talking about, how to give her some hair, some different fibers you can use, and some different, how to use multiple fibers and, fancy yarns and so forth and so on. So that's the Muse with Soul. All right, so that is class number 8. Class number 9 is called, are you ready for this? The Painted Lady Muses. Yeah, how do we explain the Painted Lady Muses and where they came from? I'm not really sure. There must be a little part of me somewhere that's a little wacky, shall we say. I was going to say whacked, but that's not exactly right. But, a little wacky. So the Muse, the Painted Lady Muse, yes, here she is. This is one of them. We have multiples. She's kind of like a flat Stanley, if you know what I'm talking about. She's kind of a flat Stanley, but she is a Painted Lady Muse. She is done completely with paint and pens and pencils and so forth. Sometimes they have words on them. Sometimes they have just different symbols or things that you like. The back is completely painted. This is a painting technique and stamping. And then she is put together with a sewing machine. You could put her together with glue if you didn't want to do that. So many of these pieces you could do with glue. Not all of them, but many of them you could. Or in the case of the Muse with Soul, she is done with a hand sewing stitch. So she is put together by hand. Okay? All right. So that is the Painted Lady Muse. And there are three different patterns in this class. This is one where she holds a star. Okay, I'm going to do bad camera work again. Don't tell race. If you guys rat me out and tell the technical department, every one of you's in trouble. Okay? Every single one of you is in big trouble. Okay. So you'll see some more of the Painted Lady Muses down here. So there's a couple there, one holding a moon, one holding a heart, and then you'll see some little tiny ones back up there on the shelf, again holding the heart, the star, and the moon. And so some of them are flat, some of them are actually stuffed, so you can see that. We're doing the flat version. Okay? So that's what we're doing. Hey, Linda McAllister, I see that. Don't you tell him. I thought you were my friend, Linda. I thought you were my friend. So those are the Painted Lady Muses. And then after that, classes 10, 11, and 12, it takes 3 weeks. Yes, not 3 weeks, 3 classes. For Ms. Muse to get here. And so I'll show you my versions of Ms. Muse. She's different every time I create her because it depends on where I am. Sorry for the reach here. It depends on where I am and what I'm doing, and my state of mind and all that kind of stuff, It just depends on where I am as to what expression and what form Ms. Muse takes. So I'm going to show you some of them. So here's one. This is one of the Ms. Muses, and she uses, we're like taking all the stuff that we've learned throughout this course, this mixed media course, and we're kind of putting it all together. So she has one of the heads from one of the classes that we did. This is, she's a very simple Very simple shape, very simple silhouette. And she's got wings. And the wings for me symbolize that my creativity needs wings. It needs expression, and so I use wings a lot. Not so much that she's an angel, but she could be, or something else. We don't know. Oh, and I missed one of the classes. I just realized we got to go back and catch it here in a second. So things will get a little out of order here for a minute. Anyway, so these are the last classes. So she has wings, and this particular muse has a necklace on, and it says play, and she's holding some toys because she's reminding me that I need to play more, not work so much. Her hair is done with a produce bag, one of the head wrap is a produce bag, like one of the ones that holds oranges or lemons, onions, that kind of thing. So here's another one, another expression of the Ms. Muse, and of course they have to hold things, Hi, Lindsay. I just saw your name. So sometimes they have to hold things in their hands, which is what she has. Again, she has wings on her back. This one has all kinds of words on her. So her body is a great canvas for adding words, quotes, different kinds of things that are meaningful to you. So that's another version of Ms. Muse, and she has a different kind of face. So you can see one's a profile and one is the tab head, it's called. Remember the one where she got her brain? Yeah. And this is another rendition or another version. And you can see, if you look at these three, you can see I was in completely different spaces when I created these three, because they're similar, but they're very different from each other. So this one, again, has words on her body shape. Her wings on this one are using a painted technique, so they're painted on one side and they're fabric on the other side. No fancy stitching or anything on this one. She has a much different hairstyle. She's got a braid and an updo and all that kind of stuff, and she's even holding words in her hands. So these are some of those laser cut words. So I have a great fondness for each of these because I made them at 3 different times, and so as my muse is ebbing and flowing and changing, and she comes into the world each time, she looks a little different. So it's really fun for me personally to get to see what my muse, what that thing is inside of me, that creative spark, what that is. It allows me to see what form she's taking at that particular time. So I don't know, I love taking the time to do that. And then, of course, I told you that I forgot one of the classes, so I'm going to tell you that. And then this is called class number 7. I missed 7. I skipped right over 7. And this is called The Muse Hits the Bottle, and that's what she did. So I showed you the face earlier, but I didn't really explain the muse to you. Well, the muse hits the bottle. She's built on a water bottle or a juice bottle, and she has fancy hair. She has interesting arms. This is a completely no-sew project. Once the head is done, there's no more sewing. Everything is done with my glue technique, which I'm going to teach you. So here's some more renditions. You can tell that I was in some crazy moods when some of these muses came into being, can't you? I mean, look at that hair. But one thing the muses always have is they always have fancy jewelry. Always. Always have fancy jewelry. And lots of it. Lots of it. So here is another Ms. Muse, and each one of them is built on some kind of a bottle. No sew. Once the head is complete, no sew. And you can tell she's got flowers in her hair, you know, because that's the way she was. She has glasses on the top of her head. You know, in case you haven't been around me, a whole lot of the time I'm running around like this. I have one pair of glasses on the top of my head and another one on my face, because it just depends on what it is I'm trying to see as to which pair of glasses I use. So it only seemed right that that Ms. Muse would also do that. Here's another one. And I refer to these as bottle babes. So she has flower petals for her hairdo, and a tiny little bit of hair, not much, but she is like that. And then there's one really ornery one. I'm telling you, real ornery one, and this is called another one of the bottle babes. But can you see the expression on her face? She has a winky face going on, so she's winking at you. And she just has that kind of, well, she's got her head tilted over to the side. She's just got that look about her. She's just a little bit ornery. And you know what? Sometimes the muses, I have to say, are a little bit ornery. Yes, they are. Okay. And then we have one more muse, and I'm going to see if I can get out of the way so you can see her right here. These muses that are hanging up right here. These are the mixed media version at the end. This is just like the Ms. Muse version, but this is a completely mixed media version, totally mixed media, where the ones I showed you also are mixed media, but in a different way. They have a lot more sewing involved. But this one, these that are hanging right here, right behind me, those are totally mixed media. There is no, although there is fabric, there is no stitching whatsoever on them. So, and again, they come into the world and they express another thing of where you are and what's going on in your life at that particular point in time. Then, if that's not enough, oh, and let me show you this. This is the book of notes that you end up with in this class, okay? I'm going to see if I can just kind of flip. Let's kind of flip here. Okay, so it has pictures. All the notes have pictures. I just whacked myself in the face with my notebook cover. Cute, huh? Anyway, I've printed it out on my laser printer, so it's printed with black ink. But in the end, you would have a binder if you decide to print it off. It's totally up to you. But it's about a 3-inch binder full of notes that go with every one of the classes. So even if you didn't do every single class, you still have the notes to refer back to, so you can incorporate those techniques into what you like to do, what your muse wants to do. Okay? So that is that. What was it you wanted, Vicki? Vicki says, where do you go for a list of what you need? That if you're interested in joining the Minding Your Muse class, you just need to click the link that's below the video, and that'll take you over there, tell you everything you need to do, and the first class is going to get you started with the Minding Your Muse toolkit and everything that we're going to use. Okay. So at the end, after all the 12 classes are finished, then we have a bonus class. And the way that the bonus class came into being was I had a very special muse in my life. And I called her Grandma Shepherd. I never had a grandmother as a kid. My grandparents were all, yes, Carla, the classes will be available later too. Yes, but I'll tell you why. One aspect of the classes that won't be available later. But Grandma Shepherd, because I never knew any grandparents, I was born late in my parents' lives, and so their parents were all gone by the time I was very, very tiny. Don't remember any of them. So every place we lived, I adopted a grandma. And so there was a lady that lived across the street from us, and she did beautiful handwork. And I think it was when I graduated from high school, she gave me a set of pillowcases that she had they're white pillowcases, and she had done all of this elaborate white stitching on them. And so I've had those pillowcases all these years. I used them for a while, but then I put them away because I can't use them. You know, it's like, how am I going to do that? I don't want to ruin Grandma Shepherd's pillowcases. But she was such a powerful influence in my life, because as a little girl, I couldn't wait to go to her house, ring her doorbell, and show her whatever it was I was doing. She taught me how to needlepoint. She taught me how to do cross stitch. You know, all of those hand needlework types of arts that were popular, that she learned how to do, embroidery and all that. She passed those on to me. So in a way to honor her, I created the Muse from the Past, and so this is a bonus class, and so you won't be able to see her very much because she's white, but this, let me see if I can get a shot of this on this other camera. Yeah, okay. See all this? This is at the bottom of her skirt. All of this is done by hand. It's a buttonhole stitch embroidery, and that is all along the bottom of this particular Muse's dress, along the pillowcase. So, whoops, sorry, wrong camera. And so I figured out a way that I could get her out of a pillowcase, and she is the symbol of those women that were so powerfully important to me that came before me, because everybody has people that have helped them develop their creativity, whether it's a neighbor, a parent, a grandparent, a teacher. You know, there's always somebody someplace that has helped you exercise and learn more and express that creativity. So that was my way of honoring my Muse from the past, Grandma Shepherd, and I was compelled to do that, and so I recorded the process, and it's in the archive. You know, it was in the archive of stuff that's back there. You know, someday I'll use it, maybe when, or I don't know. And so we pulled that out, and so that is there's 6 bonus classes that are tagged on it at the end of Minding Your Muse. Okay, so that kind of takes you through all the different things that we're going to be doing. And then every week, the way it's going to work is on Mondays, the classes will go live. So we'll have 2 classes that will be released every Monday. And then every Wednesday, we're going to have a live show and share. And so that's where you can come on with me and you can show what you've been doing. You can ask me questions. It'll be a live thing. There is a video aspect of it, so if you have a camera in your computer or your tablet or whatever, you can be on camera and you can show it to me. If you don't want to be on video, you can just do it with the chat. You can kill the video and you can just read the chat and you can watch me. And so that's how that's going to work. And so the live aspect of it, although I will record it, the live aspect of those classes will only be with this first running of this class. After that, Carla asked if the classes would be available down the road. Yes, they'll be available down the road, but we will not be doing the show and share aspect of it like this in the future. Okay, so that's, although you could get to see those things that that people did, you wouldn't be able to participate. So it's a really cool aspect of this first running of this class. So, okay. So I wanted to show you Ruth, who's in the audience, she got right with it. The minute that class was available, she got right with it. And she discovered that indeed the first 2 classes are already available. And so Ruth she is Miss Enthusiasm, let me just tell you. And so I just wanted to show you that she already did the Muse mapping class. Here is her Muse map, and this is what she said, which I thought was, I had to smile when I read what she said. She says, just in case you're not looking at your computer, she said, "I am not believing I drew this. I am flabbergasted. Seriously. Barb, you're amazing. I know you think this is easy, but I'm telling you, it's not for me. This is ingenious, and I can't wait to finish it." Now, I don't know whether Miss Ruth has finished it or not, but I just wanted you to see that somebody who's never done this before has already jumped in and done it. And I think she had a lot of fun. I think she had a lot of fun. So anyway, that is, and so Ruth is N.R. Edwards in the chat. So if you have questions, ask Ruth, and she'll tell you. She'll give you more information as to whether, what she feels about it. I think she's liking it. So if you're interested in joining up with us for this live run of the class, where we will have the live show and shares in conjunction with the recorded classes, then it starts on Monday. So this is Friday, the 15th. It starts on Monday, July 18th. Now, if you want to join it later, if you don't get to join on Monday, if you can't join it for, say, a week or 2 weeks, you can still get in on the live show and shares for the rest of those classes. And so if you can't do it, be there ready to rock and roll, then, you'll be able to still join the class and get in on some of those live show and share events. Okay. I don't know that I have anything else to tell you. If you have questions, put them in caps in the chat. Ruth says she had a blast and she couldn't believe she could produce that outcome. Good for you, Ruth. See, all you need to know is kind of the procedure, and it's that way to unleash that muse. We just sometimes, I tell you, you guys are either talking about me or I'm going to kiss a fool, because my nose is really itching here today. Do not tell Clausman I said that. So it's going to start on Monday, July 18th. That is my birthday. Yes, it is. So happy birthday to me, to you guys. Okay? All right. The link for more information is in the description box below the video, so have at it. And I'd love to have you join the class. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and as I said, we have been developing this over the course of several years. So we've put a lot of stuff into it. So I think you'll enjoy it, and I will guarantee you that your muse, if you work through even half of the class projects, I guarantee you that your muse is going to fly and spark in different ways. And for you to have that ability to see what your muse looks like, I think it's just a really cool thing. So Ruth says she found Elizabeth Taylor for her muse's head. Right. The class, it's not a set time for the classes that go that are released. The classes will be released on Monday, early Monday, or late Sunday night sometimes. So the classes are released on Monday. There's no set time. The live show and share will be on Wednesday afternoons. So every Wednesday afternoon there will be a live show and share. And that will be at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is the regular time that I'm on. Okay? All right. That's it. All right. What else do I have to say? Okay, we've done all that stuff, so I can put this away. So now we're going to play. All right. So I've been playing a little bit. Let's talk a wee bit more about last week when we worked on the Ken Oliver color bursts. And what did I do with my color bursts? Oh, there they are. Okay. So I'm just going to show you the projects after I finished some of the things that we were working on. I finished them completely, and I thought, well, I'll show them to you guys. Now you can see all these. You can see pictures of these on my website, which is HowToGetCreative.com. So you can see these, and you can actually enlarge the pictures if you want to. But I thought I would show these to you so you can see them after they were finished. So this is the card. This is the watercolor card where I did some stamping and so forth. The sponsors, how are the sponsors? Well, they're just good and ornery as usual. At the moment, They're quiet, so that means they're good. It means they're good. So this is the kitty cat stencil that is a Ken Oliver stencil. And so I finished that so you could see that. And then the other cards that we finished that I worked on during the stream, these are postcards. And so what I used on the postcards were, after I did the color burst, then I used a variety of pens, mostly white pens, some were a little bit black pen too. So this one, I think this one we did on the stream last week. And this one I did actually before the stream. These are all done with a Ken Oliver color bursts. Watercolor, they're watercolor pigments in powder form. And this is another one. So the difference between this one and this one, I mean, there's a little difference in the color, but you can see I didn't go to the edges with the color as I did on this one. And then this is one we did on stream together too. Yeah. You thought, was it this one you thought were dinosaur bones? It's kind of funny. It's a kitty face. You have to look. It's a kitty face. Okay, so that's what we did last week. So I have some others that I had put the pigments on and dried them. I just haven't had a chance to work on those. But I thought we'd play with the powders a little bit more today because I thought it would be kind of fun. And I don't know if you can hear my computer in the background. If you can, I'm sorry that you're having to listen to it. It's not happy at the moment. My computer has a fan in it that is going a little bit wonky, shall we say. And so it is being quite obnoxious in the background. So if you hear that, I apologize. Anyway, there ain't anything I can do about it, so we're just going to roll with it. So this paper I have several sheets of this stuff, and it's called Mixed Media Origins Collection. And this is from Tattered Angels, which is from Canvas Core. I don't know if you say Canvas Corp or Canvas Core. You know, the part of me wants to call it Canvas Core, but I hear it pronounced Canvas Corp all the time, so I really don't know. But anyway, you can hardly hear it, Vicki? Okay, thanks. Good. Okay, Carol wants to know, what is the paper I used for the color burst? The postcards and the cards that I showed you that were finished, those are all watercolor paper. The postcards are the Strathmore postcards. You actually buy them in a pad, and they're actually postcards, and they're Strathmore. So those already come pre-sized 4x6. The other ones that had the craft card background, those are actually from Ken Oliver, and they are called his craft and water media cards. So there's watercolor paper that's stitched onto the card base. So they come like that, and then you just do whatever you want. So it's watercolor paper. You're welcome. So this paper now is specifically mixed media paper. So I have several sheets of it. So I thought I'd show you the ones that I have. And then we'll play a little bit with it. So these are the ones that I have. Let me get out of the picture so you can see the whole thing. And so this is called, let's see, the first one that I showed you, and I have this unpainted too, is called Wings. And now these were $3 a sheet is what I paid for them. I got them at a local store. So I'll show you more about this. This one's called Flight. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you for the pronunciation. But I love these because they are mixed media in nature, and they're perfect for lots of things. But this is not your regular paper. It does have a definite different feel about it. So that's one side of the flight paper. Here's the other side of it with all the lace and so forth on it. Okay, so there's that one. This is another version of, or another sheet of the wings paper, so you can see it without anything on it. And I have not played with this a whole lot, and so what we're going to be doing is discovering some stuff about these together. So this is the other side of the wings paper. One of the things that I find distressing about these is that they are really pretty on both sides. So if you're going to use them like I'm going to use them today, you have to make a choice, you know, which way you're going to do them. And this one is called Nature. This is, I mean, they're all really beautiful. Look at that rabbit. See the rabbit? So cute. Butterflies, rabbits, flowers, moths. This says Naturalist Library Entomology, Volume 3. And this is the back side of this one. Aren't they pretty? And I wish you could feel these papers, because like I said, they are just, they're not a traditional scrapbook paper. It is different. This one is called Tides, Tides. Has the seahorse and lighthouse and a compass rose on it. And this is the other side of it with a cute whale, drawing of a sailboat, starfish, and this one I showed you already. This is the flight. Yeah, I showed these to you already, both of these. I got multiple papers because I wanted to have some to be able to play with, of course. So you got to have more than one, right? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Which one do I want to play with? Just looking here for a minute. Let's do, actually, let's work with this one with the birds on it. They do come separately. Yeah. They are available separately. So they're not in a pad. They are, you know, they're not grouped together. They are sold singly. At least that's how I found them. I don't know if they might be available single or in a grouping from someplace. So we're going to play with this one, and then we'll play with this. We'll do a couple of them because I need 2 single pieces of this. Because what I'm going to do with it is I have used up my current composition notebook, and so I had to go into a new one because I've used up the one that filled up the one that I was working on. So this one is from, I bought this actually at Barnes & Noble, and these are, the label or the brand is Piccadilly, Piccadilly, Piccadilly. And so they sell these at Barnes & Noble. They're very similar to the Moleskine. Okay, Free to Be Me wants to know where you can find the papers. I will put those, I'll put a link in the description box when I have, when I get the video done, which will be tonight, because I'm planning to put this video up for everybody for tomorrow. And I will have more information on my blog also tomorrow. And I'll do my best to find a place for you to get them. The place where I got them is at my local store that's local to me, that is called Soul Sentiments. And I think it's entirely possible that you could contact them and that she would ship them to you. And you can look that up, Google it online, and I'm sure that you could contact her and ask about them. So, yeah, but I will tell you that she's out of town for about another week. She's got a lot of stuff going on. The owner, I'm sure the store is open. She's open Thursday through Sunday, but I'm sure she herself is not in the store, but she'll have somebody there. That probably was just terribly confusing, but it's the best I can offer. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do with them. It's time for me to cover a new composition notebook because I like them covered. I don't like them plain, any composition notebook, because I need to be able to know what's in it, when I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing, right? So for example, I'll show you a couple of them that I can get my hand on at the moment. Here's one. I know what's in these books based on what the cover is. And that may sound just as goofy as can be, but it works for me. So I know what's in here because after I fill this notebook full of writing and whatever stuff that I need to fill it up with, I've formed a relationship with, goofy as it sounds, and an attachment to the books. So that one is full and ready for I had to go into the new one, even though it didn't have a cover on it, which is usually not what I do. Here's another one. So this one is covered with locker hooking, and so this has got a locker hooking cover on it. You can find this video on YouTube as to how to do locker hooking, not necessarily how to cover the notebook, but how to do the locker hooking. Thanks, you guys. So this is just very similar to what you see, the Kaye, I think is how you pronounce it, the Kaye notebooks that are produced by the Moleskine company. This just happens to be, they're really quite reasonable to purchase. So what I'm doing in this, I started listening to and participating in the 21-day meditation experience that Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey have. And so to do something different this time, because I've participated in those every time they've come out, as I've been listening to them, I've just been adding something that kind of came into my head while I was listening to them. And so I've just been adding some additional little bits of doodles and artwork and highlighting, things that were important to me. And I'm doing all of this with the Tim Holtz Distress crayons. And because I want to get more familiar with them and how they react and so forth. And so I'm just adding all of that with these. So this is a tree, in case you can't tell. This was about growth. And what jumps out at me doesn't necessarily jump out at anybody else, but it just did with me. This is one of my mandalas. And then these are just some doodly flowers and a little fence with some flowers growing on them, So anyway, I'm doing something different with this one that I've not done in the past, and that is that I'm writing. It's mostly writing, but then I'm also incorporating some art and doodles and so forth as I'm working. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take whatever I create with the art, and I'm going to cover, I'm going to cover each side of this notebook, composition notebook, and then I'll do something on the spine. Maybe put some tape, or I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe put some fabric. I don't know. I haven't decided. But anyway, so we're going to play with this, okay? Now, we're going to play around with the pigment powders again. I know. It's craziness, I tell you. I need to jump up for a second and get my palette, and because we're going to do something similar to this. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but we're going to find out. All right, so let me get my palette. Because I forgot to pick it up when I was getting stuff ready. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some of the pigment powders. I'm going to kill my ceiling fan. And I'm going to put some water in a little bowl. So I'm just going to have some water in here. I have a great big container, hopefully wide, flat base, so hopefully nobody gets too upset with me for illegal fluids on the table, you know. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to put out some colors here. And these are the Ken Oliver color bursts, so I'm just going to get some colors out. And I'm just going to kind of pull some that might be kind of bird-like colors. Okay, so I've just pulled a few out. And I'm going to put a little bit of powder here. And these are very, very, very bright. Very bright. And I've also put on my hands, before I ever started, I put gloves in a bottle on my hands, which protect my skin a little bit. It makes it easier for me to get these off my skin when the day is over. I've tried a number of those skin protecting shielding lotions, and that is my favorite because it doesn't make my hands feel sticky or chalky. And I cannot stand sticky and chalky. Okay, come out of there. So what I'm doing is just putting some powders out here. Now they're all going to mingle together, which is fine with me. In the end, there'll probably be one big mass of color here. And I have no idea if I'm mixing up enough. But we're just going to put them out and see what happens. And if things don't work the way that I want them to work, we can always go back and use acrylic paint over the top of them, right? Okay, so I have some little spots of color here, of the color burst. Like so. And so I have my water right here. So now I'm going to get I need to switch sides. Maybe we'll switch sides here. One thing I have discovered, you can never have enough room to create. Ever. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? No matter how big your space is, you never have enough room. Okay, I'm going to take myself out of the picture so that you can maybe have a shot of seeing what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use my finger, and I'm just going to pick up some of the color with my finger. So I picked up some water and then picked up some color. And I'm literally going to finger paint here. Okay? And I'm going to do this quickly, and I'm not going to worry too much about everything being too particular, too perfect, in other words. And if I need to, I will get some more colors here. This takes finger painting to a whole new level, doesn't it? So we're just going to see how quickly I can keep keep things here where you can see them. So again, I'm just picking up some water and just literally making little puddles of the color. And just painting away and just see what happens here. Mixed media at its best and finger painting. How much better can it be? Okay, then I'm going to go, I've got some purple out here. And I'm going to kind of fill in the flowers with the purple. And more purple down here because there's more flowers, so I'm just patting in some of the purple for the different color, the different flower groups. But I had decided that using my finger was going to be much faster than doing it with a brush. Hi, Glinda. Okay, so we pretty much got that kind of based in, kind of blocked in here and there. Need a color for the background, so let's go to ultramarine blue because that seems appropriate. So I'm tapping out a little of the ultramarine blue powder, and I'm really putting out very small amounts of the powder on my palette, very small. And doing a little blending between things here. Never be afraid to get your hands into your work. Who cares if it doesn't turn out? It's only paper. It's only paper. So are you guys doing something creative, or are you just watching me make a paint some paper here? Sometimes when I watch people stream, sometimes I just watch them stream. Sometimes I have them on in the background while I'm doing something. And sometimes I'm just sitting there just vegging out, doing nothing but watching. Okay, so I'm filling in around the birds a little bit. I keep dipping my finger in the water just to allow things to blend a little bit. Okay, so we got that much done. So it's kind of cool. Let's see if we can blend this a little bit more up here. One thing I have discovered is that if there's something I'm not real crazy about, I let it sit. I did some fabric the other day that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the ugliest thing I ever made in my entire life. I let it sit till the next day, and I looked at it and I thought, yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, so we have some color going on there. Now, I want to put something in here. And I'm just thinking a minute, you know, because thinking is a good thing. See if I can do something. We did ultramarine blue. All right, let's do a little bit of turquoise, because I gotta do that, you know. And I'm gonna go see if I can go really light with it. I'm gonna have a very interesting finger here by the time this is done. Good thing I put on the shielding lotion. So I'm gonna make this nice, and I'm gonna try to make this pretty light in color. Now this is gonna change again here in a little bit, just so you know. But all I want to do is just get some color into the middle of this. So I get quiet when I start, you know, thinking about this stuff. It happens. It happens. And the one thing about it that you can't do is you can't think about it too much, because if you start thinking too much, that's not so good. You know, it's better to just go for it. Okay? Alright, so because part of this is probably going to show, I'm going to go after this and put some, obviously, some red or orange or something. I don't know what color this is. Whatever it is, whatever I just mixed up I don't like, so I'm going to revamp and go again. Let's do the fresh dollop of alizarin crimson. I think I contaminated my other color with something else. So I'm going to pick up some alizarin crimson here and put that in here. And then it seems like we'll put some fuchsia in here too. So I'm going to put out a little bit. I'm just sprinkling out a little bit of powder. Okay, so I'm just puffing out a little bit of powder. And each time I'm just dipping my finger into the powder and making it into paint, watercolor. So there's not much difference between that. For fuchsia, it is not at all what I think of as fuchsia, I gotta tell you. So I'm just gonna go over this entire heart. I'm gonna put some little purple in it just for something different. So I'm going to deepen the edges of it a little bit. Give it a little bit of a rounded look to the heart. And then maybe we'll put some put a little dark on this bird. I know, hands are can be the best tools, that is for sure. Okay, now I want to paint this lace with something. What color we got on it? How about some sepia, because that should be an interesting color. Kind of see if we can get kind of an old, aged look to this lace out here. So again, picking up water. I'm going to drag out that sepia so it doesn't have too much pigment in it, although it's gonna, as I said, it's gonna change as we do the next thing here. So, and it could change for the worse. Then again, it could change for the better. I like colorful things, and so therefore that's what I'm going for, getting color at it. Okay, we've got a little more lace down here at the bottom. Okay, so we got some lace down here at the bottom. So that should dry out and give us kind of a cool look. And then we got some more lace across down the bottom, or the other side. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use sepia diluted down. Or not. In this case, it's or not. Boy, I tell you, that fan in my computer is just struggling over here today. Poor thing. Poor thing. Okay, so we've got that on this. So far you can see kind of what I'm doing, right? Okay, so let's check and see if this is going to be big enough. Yes, big enough for that one. All right, so let me hit this with a heat gun. We need to get it. I don't know whether I will get this done today, to tell you the truth, everybody, but we're going to give it a shot, see what happens. And I'm going to dry from the other side. Now, it is mixed media paper. That is what it's labeled. It is wrinkling a little bit, as in, warping a little bit. But this first one that I did, and this has been several weeks ago, it's curled a little bit. You can see up here at the top corner. But for the most part, it's really pretty flat. So I was pretty pleased with how it did. It seems to take the wine. Now remember, I'm only using what water is on my fingers, so it's not. And I'm not a great watercolorist by any means. I just play with watercolor. If you want to see really good watercolor, you need to go see Lindsay the Frugal Crafter and see what she does with watercolor, because she flat knows her watercolor. I just play with it. But what amount of water I used on it, it did a fine job. Okay. All right, so we're going to call that good. Alright, now this is going to be a notebook that I'm going to need to be able to use. And so I don't really want to splat water on it all the time or take the chance of that and have big water spots on it. So I want to seal it, and so this is what I'm going to do. And this is what I did on the other sheet that worked pretty well, so this is what we're going to do and see what happens. Make myself a little bit more room. So what I've just dumped into this little bowl is gloss medium and varnish. This is Liquitex gloss medium and varnish. I have a palette knife. It's a plastic palette knife. I'm going to pick some up on my palette knife. And I'm going to drag this down the paper. Okay, now you have very few shots at this, because if you do it too many times you're going to lift the color straight back off of the paper. So I am working from the top down. Okay, so I'm just picking up some varnish, kind of overlapping the previous stroke. See, and then I'm going to wipe that off on my rag. I'm not pushing, I'm just dragging the varnish down. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense what I'm doing. And then I'm wiping that off. I'm not using a brush on purpose, and that is because a brush is going to move all this really fast. And you got to resist the temptation to go back over what you've already done. That is really hard for me not to do. Too many times. Get my palette out of my way so I don't drag my shirt through it. Okay. Alright, then I'm going to come from the bottom up because I can't get it all in one stroke. So I'm going to come now from the bottom up. I do not know if this is a good thing to do or not to do. Doesn't matter, because I'm doing it. But I'm doing it out of this little bowl just because it's easier for me to pick up. It's just easier for me to pick up the varnish that way than it is any other way that I could think of. And if you see spots where the varnish is not over it, we'll always wish it was. Okay, so more or less we have a coat of varnish on top of this. And I'm just wiping up my surface. I'll turn it around here so you can kind of see it. And you can see it gets a little streaky, but that's because of the nature of watercolor. Could you use an old credit card? I'm sure you could. Anything that would scrape, I think would be worth investigating. I'm making this up as I go along. I'm totally making it up. Alright, so we're going to hit it with a heat gun to see if we can get it to dry. And I'm just trying to smooth out some of the bigger pools of varnish, which is going to give it some texture because some of it's already started to dry, which I think is cool. Now, I did not go over this section over here. I only went over part of the heart. It stops right here because I'm not using this section. So, yeah. So I probably won't get the back of this notebook done, but we're going to see if we can get the front. And we'll use this one for the front. Even though it's not spring, spring is one of my very favorite seasons. It's probably my favorite season. Now it does take a little bit for this varnish to dry. And I'm going to keep moving. You can see my heat gun, my heat tool is moving because I don't want to come right down on the surface. If I come right down on that surface, I'm going to cause that to bubble. Because you're really trying to get it to do something that it doesn't want to do. It wants to dry on its own, really. And I've got a big pool of varnish down here at the bottom, so I'm going to see if I can just spread that a little bit, which took some of the color off, but that's alright. No big whoop. Alright, let's see if we can get it to dry some from the back. Hi Deborah, what I'm doing is decorating a piece of mixed media paper with color bursts, and then I've gone over it with the gloss medium and varnish, Liquitex gloss medium and varnish to seal it. We're trying to get it to seal and dry. And whether I can get this to do what I want it to do and get it dry enough, I don't know. But hey, yeah, it's pretty sticky, so we may have to go to the one that's dry so I can show you kind of what my thought process is, but you'll see the idea. Maybe we'll paint another one. We'll set this one off to the side and see if it can get dry. I don't know if it can, but we'll see. But you can see it is glossy, right? So the glossiness makes you think it's wet. It's actually somewhere between wet and dry here. So we're going to set this one off to the side. And let me pick another one that we're gonna do. Maybe, well, let's see. I'm going to pick another sheet here. Let's do this one. And I'm going to put color on this section because I'll use this. My thought is I'll use it on the back. So it would be on the back cover like so. So it would be like that. So yeah, that'll be nice. So we'll work on that. So let's do that, this section. Let me see how far I have to go on it. Okay, so I only have to go over to the trim. So we'll go over to there, and we'll get the eyeball of the bunny rabbit. The eyeball of the bunny rabbit will be on this. That could be kind of fun. All right, so let's paint this one. I'm going to do it the same way. So I've got the Ken Oliver color bursts, and I'm going to paint with my finger and water. So I'm just going to put the water on top of my palette. And I'm going to start with whatever I got here. I got some kind of blue going on, or purple. Maybe it's purple. It is purple. And I'm going to detail these with pens later. So I don't want to completely obscure the ink. And as it dries, I think it's going to dry out where we'll be able to see it anyway. Okay, so we have a moth or something up here. I think that's a moth. I'm just going to kind of drag this color out a little bit, just with my finger and some water. And then I'm going to pick up that blue. I'll use the blue and the turquoise. So this one, although it looks kind of turquoise, this is the ultramarine blue. Tell you, the fan in my computer sounds like it is just dying a slow death. I hope you guys can't hear that very much. And this is the turquoise, so they look very similar. Let me add some more ultramarine blue. I probably just contaminated the two of them. All right, let's do some more ultramarine blue to my palette. Part of it's because I got so much pigment on my finger here. It's definitely a bluer blue than the turquoise is. So I'm just going to paint this all the way to the bottom of the page. Even though I'm not going to use all of it, I might as well have it painted. So we'll just go all the way to the bottom. Quickly, so that I don't have time to think about it. It's good if you just get in there and do it and don't think. And if you blob some color, just spread it around. Now, if you can't stand getting your hands dirty, which I understand, that is some people don't like to do that, then this is not your technique. This is not your technique. But, you know, I thought, hey, this is a quick way to get this color on here. And because I played with it a little bit, it's been a few weeks actually since I played with it. So trying to remember exactly what I did. You know, why not? Okay, and I'm going to pick up some more of the ultramarine blue. The funny thing is, you know, I see a lot of people paint with acrylic paints in their fingers, and that is not my favorite thing to do, let me tell you, at all. But this I like. So, I don't know. I got no explanation for that whatsoever. Okay, so we've got some blue going on. I'm going to soak up some of this excess pigment up here. And then I'm going to go to some of the colors, whatever it is I have out here. And a little bit of brown. Just kind of let those just kind of do their thing for a minute. Maybe pick up a little bit of the excess. Okay, and then we got a bunch of excess, you know, rolling around over here, so we'll pick a little bit of that up. And let's see, how much of this is going to show again? So part of those butterfly wings, I'm going to have to paint this over in here. The paper is called Mixed Media. It's called Mixed Media Origins Collection. It's by Tattered Angels of Canvas Core, or Canvas Corp. I don't know how you say that. And the specific one is, the specific paper that I'm working on at the moment is called Nature. Okay, just blending the color out a little bit. He's got a little bit of a brown body hanging out, so we're going to put his body in there. And while I'm here, I'm just going to paint the back side of that wing. And then we got the bunny. We got to put some color on the bunny rabbit. So I'm going to go back and put some more sepia out on my palette. See, are there any other colors here? Sepia is the only brown one that I have. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna have to make do with this sepia. So I'm just gonna paint a little bit over the bunny rabbit here. Chance has been locked up long enough. He is ready to come out of that room. He is tired of being locked up. He's in there just whining to beat the band. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's squalling with his lovely little melodious voice. Okay, so we have this done to this point. Okay, so we're going to give it a okay, paint the rabbit, paint the whole rabbit, cut it with the rest, and you can overlap the front with it. I could do that. I might do that. Who knows what I will do? You never know what I'm going to do. I don't even know what I'm going to do. Okay, so we're going to give it a shot of heat here. If you're talking about Tuesday morning having these papers, I doubt if they do, because I think they're new enough. I don't think that you may be talking about something else, but I doubt that they do because it's new enough. That's just a guess. Okay, because I'm not just saturating this totally, it doesn't take very long for this part to dry. Now I think what I may want to do is come back here with a little bit of blue. See if I can get a little bit of this blue in amongst the flower blooms. No thinking, just doing. Let your muse loose. She wants to come out and play. I think there's actually a caterpillar on one of the blooms over here, but if I want to detail that, I'll detail that with the pins and stuff later. Okay, so got a little bit more of the blue in here that I was looking for. All right. Okay, so we've got that one painted basically. I'm going to set that one to the side, go back to the first one. And it's still a little bit sticky, so, you know, it's not completely dry, so we're going to dry it a little bit more. And I can see a couple spots where I didn't get varnish, you know, where it's, when you tilt it, you can see by the reflection in the light. So there's a spot here and a spot here where there's no reflectivity from the light. So that means I really didn't get anything there. Any of varnish. So in reality, this would be a good idea to let this sit for a good long while to dry completely. And I probably will go back over it with a brush and a coat of matte varnish, because I much prefer the matte varnish actually. The gloss is kind of cool with this. It kind of gives it a certain depth that you don't see otherwise, but you know, I actually prefer the matte or matte medium over the gloss, but you know, got to try things instead of doing the same old thing all the time. All right, we're going to see what happens here. So what I'm going to use now is I'm going to use some Pitt Artist Pens, the big brush style of Pitt Artist Pens. So these are the Pitt Artist Pens, big brush. And there is a big reflection from my light, but it's the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen big brush. So this is what I'm using, okay? And this works. This works because there's a coat of varnish down here. So let's see how it works. So I'm going to put in a little bit of shading around this bird's neck. And blend it with my finger. Okay? Same thing. I'm going to put in a little shading here. And then use my finger. I'm just going to touch it with my finger to draw it down. And there's the tail of the bird is here. So just to give it a little extra something something. Okay, let's come over to these birds. So basically wherever there is shading already on the image, I'm just putting a little bit of color and then touching it with my finger. This would be much better if you let the varnish completely dry. Because I actually may run the risk of causing my pen to have a heart attack and die, because that can happen. That can happen. But I'm just after getting some additional color and shading. You can see how the bird has a little more depth now, I hope. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so the color I'm using here is Nougat. That's the color I'm using. But this only works, you can only do this with these pens if you have a coat of something underneath them. If you're trying to do this on raw paper, it won't work. You can't blend them at all. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to go to black. And what I'm going to do is see if I can detail some of the branches. So just bring out, sorry you couldn't even see that, just see if I can bring out some of the branches a little bit more. So I'm just putting on the color and then just patting it with my finger. for lack of a better term, to smear it a little bit. And then there's a branch in here, and so that I don't make them all the same, I'm going to go back to the nougat. Just for something different in the color. So we'll do some black and some brown. So down here we have a big branch. Okay, so you kind of see, can you see it kind of sharpening up a little bit? Hopefully you can see the colors coming out. Okay, let's go back up here and pick up a little bit more of the black up here. And these markers dry permanent. It is an India ink. They will dry permanently. So once it's fully dried, we should be good to go. Okay, and then we've got a branch that comes down like this. And let it kind of fade off the page there a little bit. And go back to the brown. See if we can add a little bit more brown in here. Okay. And then I'm going to come down to the bottom of the page, and let's see if I can turn it back around where it's the right way around. Okay, can you kind of see what's going on? Hopefully you can kind of see that things are showing up a little bit more. All right, there's a little bit of a branch poking out here. And quite a bit of branch right in here. Just enough to kind of give it some a little bit of character. I'm putting on very little bits of the marker. And then just dragging them out, and as they get out to the end, they just kind of fade away. And that's purposeful because I want those branches to just kind of disappear. Okay, so we got that. There's a little bit more branch right in this section, so let's see if we can draw it out a little bit. It's kind of like coming out of the flowers and in front of this bird. So we'll put that. That gives that bird a place to put his little feet. It's a whole flock of happy little birds. It's a whole bunch of flocking happy little birds, Mr. Race. It's a lot of happy little birds. Alright, I'm going to see if I can get some of this marker off of my fingertips, because it's a lot of black and a lot of brown on my fingers at the moment. Alright, we have a bunch of flowers in here that are not very detailed, so I'm going to hit this with a heat gun. That's what I paid for them, Denise. I would have to say that's probably a good price. Okay, so all I'm trying to do is to get this ink set so that it doesn't want to smear around on me. Anytime you do stuff like this on stream where you don't let it sit and dry properly, you're pushing your luck, people. You're just pushing your luck. I'm willing to do it for you guys, though. I'm willing to take it. I'm willing to take it for you. Okay, so this color is Manganese Violet, number 160. And so we're going to come in here and see if we can detail some of the happy little flowers. Just giving them some color. Okay, so just so we can bring some of them out of the shadow of, of the background. Okay, and so down here where it's considerably darker, which this may or may not even get used on this composition notebook cover, I'm using a darker color, and this color is Magenta 133. I'm telling you, fuchsia and magenta, they've got some interesting opinions of what that looks like, or else my mind just has an interesting opinion of it, which could be too. So I'm just dabbing color in, kind of in floral-y kind of shapes, little round kind of shapes, and then just patting it with my finger so before it dries. So hopefully what you can see is some of those blooms kind of coming to the foreground, a little bit of detail. And then I might come back as they're getting closer to the top and put in the purple. So that we have variety. Variety is the spice of life, So now there may not all be flowers out here, but I've got purple out here, from where I put the finger painted in the background. So I'm going to add some of those flower shapes. Okay, so we got some flowers, got some fleurs going on. Anytime you don't know whether you have enough, look at either take a picture of what you're doing and look at the picture, or if you have a computer and you can put it on a monitor, you can tell. Now those look a lot splotchier and uglier on the, I think probably what you're seeing than what it is in real life. It's a little more blended. It's a little more blended in real life. Okay, so we're going to come over here and work on this section. I'm going to use the purple, or what color was this? Manganese Violet. So I'm not doing every little thing, I'm just picking out some areas that I want to pop forward. so they'll pick up a little more detail. And then of course you can come back with gel pens and that kind of stuff later, and you can add in centers of the flowers or acrylic paint. Acrylic paint would even be better. Since this is a cover for something that's going to be handled, it's probably better to use acrylic paint. So far we have used watercolor, we've used varnish, we've used markers, so it truly is a mixed media kind of thing, right? Putting in a little flower here, another little flower here because I messed up the varnish. So you know, if you do it once and you mess it up, then do it several more times, and that way it's an effect. That's what Shannon Green says, right? Do it once, it's a mistake. Do it a whole bunch of times, it's an effect. I agree with that wholeheartedly. So I'm just dabbing the color, patting it with my finger. And I'm just barely patting it with my finger, just enough to get it to sink back into the background, just a little bit, so it's not quite so, you know, in your face kind of thing. Okay, so what do you think? You guys like this? It's not bad. It's not bad. Now the eyes of the birds, once I get it on the notebook, I'll probably go back and add some sparkle dots in the eyes of the birds. I may add a little bit more to the beaks and so forth, but we're going to call it good. Now let me hit it with the heat gun again, see if I can get what I've got on here dry. That's right, Vicki. Vicki says there are no mistakes, only happy little accidents. Bob Ross. Somebody called me Barb Ross. Who was that? I think that was Ruth. Called me Barb Ross. I have no clean finger. Well, this one's clean. I'm just seeing if this is still moving a little bit. Well, Miriam lost the chat. She can't read. Well, that's too bad. The chat's half the fun of being at a live stream. Okay. So you got the idea, right, of what this is going to do. And then what we're going to do is take this and cut it apart and make covers out of it. A cover. So this is going to be for one of the covers. And where did I put my book? I misplaced my book. It's here somewhere because I was just using it. Here it is. All right. So, this is not dry enough to be able to do anything. So I'm going to just kind of do a preliminary cutting. All right, so preliminary cutting in order. And it's funny, I have a little spot right here I'm going to have to do something with because it went, the varnish did not take it the way it like resisted the varnish. Okay, so we're going to come over to this point right here. I'm just going to cut this all the way from the bottom to the top. Because what we're after here is to get kind of an idea of how this is going to be. So let's say it goes there, and then we're going to cut off about this much. This is my very scientific way of doing this. I'm just folding it up to give myself a line to cut. Just so I have some kind of guide. Okay, so this will give you an idea. Just get it cut down. And it will not, I mean, you can tell looking here at the top and the bottom, it's going to lose some of it. And then from side to side, it's going to probably lose a little bit, depending on how I put it together, how I do it. And so that's going to be like the front cover of the book. So not bad, huh? Not bad. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So you get the idea of how big it's going to be. So what I will do to apply this is very plastic kind of a cover on here, as opposed to the regular composition notebook covers. They are very paper, cardboard feeling. This is a very plasticky kind of feeling. So what I will do to put it down is, well, my glue glued itself into its can. I have the glue in a can and it glued itself in there. Hello, Muppet. Hello, Miss Muppet. Okay, so what I will do is I will put this on here. I'm just going to put some on in the middle. I'm not going to do the whole thing. So I'm going to put it on in the middle, and I would cover the whole thing, but I'm just going to give you the idea, okay? And I would smooth with a credit card or a scraper or whatever, a nice, even, smooth coat of the glue, which is Crafter's Pick, the Ultimate. That's the glue that I like for this kind of stuff. And then I would put this on here, depending on how I decide I want it to go. And hope it's more or less straight. And then I would use my scraper and I would scrape over this once it's completely dry, and make sure that it's totally on here and there's glue all the way to the edges, and I would put it right on there, and then I would put a piece of parchment paper over the top and put some heavy weights on it and let it dry. Then when it's all done, I'm going to come back and I'm going to trim it up. Okay, so I would do the same thing to the back cover. So I'm just trying to get it on here straight at the moment, because there's nothing worse than having something that's supposed to be straight that is not straight. You know what I mean? But here's the deal. If it doesn't go down there completely straight, I will camouflage it by doing something around the edges. And I can't do that because I just cut off the heads of the birds. Can't do that. You got to have the birds. You got to have the bird heads on the paper, on the cover. Okay, that's better. See, it's good to catch it before it's too late. And then check it and see. That looks like it's going to be, just looking to see if it looks like it's going to be relatively straight down the side. Okay, good enough. Good enough. So We'll let that sit. And then I'll come back and I'll add glue and I'll put the rest of it down. Okay? So that's what's going to happen. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the back cover that we did, colored. You can see how it looks now that it's dry. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to spread the varnish on it and I'm going to spread it with the knife, because if I use the brush, it's going to start really disturbing the color. So I'm going to spread it with the knife, let it completely dry. I'll come back and detail it using the pins and my fingers. Let that completely dry, and then I will cut it and glue it to the back cover. Then I'll figure out what I'm going to do to the spine, because I often like to put tape or something on the spine. I may use fabric, some of my painted fabric or something, and put that on the spine edge. So anyway, this is really lovely paper, I have to say. And once it gets that coat of varnish on it, it has a very leathery kind of feel. So I think it's going to be a cool notebook cover. So I think that's going to be fun. All right. And that is that. Did you guys like that? I hope you did. And I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work fine. I may end up giving it a different coat, one more final coat of varnish when I'm all done. I don't know if I'll use the gloss varnish or if I'll use the matte varnish to seal it completely, but you know, hey, we'll see. So, all right. I guess it's time to get the sponsors out. What do you think? You think we should get them out? They've been pretty good. They've been pretty good. I've got myself so hemmed in here. that I'm not sure whether the sponsors can even get out today, but we're going to try. So if you got any questions, put them in the chat in capital letters. I'll check it here in just a second. Oh, at the door. At the door, I tell you. Muppet, go lie down. They were at the door. They just weren't even messing around. They were at the door waiting to get out of there. All right, you coming? Come here. You coming up? Are ya? Okay, come here. Come here. Oh, goodness. Big old boy. This is positively dangerous to have color bursts and all this stuff. And cats on the table. Go lie down. Go lie down, Mupp. I know, you want your 5 minutes of fame too. Trying to get the color bursts moved. Out of my way here a little bit. Okay, there we go. I think we got room for him now. Chance, are you coming up, buddy? Huh? I'm up. Muppet thinks she's got to have attention, so we're going to let you see Muppet. There she is. She's right here at my side, looking at all you guys. That's Muppet. Yes, she's very, very black, so you don't see much detail. Okay, so let's see if we can get the camera straight with the world. Charlie is ready for his close-up. That is a great close-up. Yeah. Bedtime. Oh, I understand. What part of the world are you in, Frederica? Now, this is Charlie boy. He is really close. Boy, he is really close. Let's scoot you back just a little bit so you're not killing everybody with your close-up. Get the monitor out of the picture here a little bit more. Charlie, or Chance, are you coming up here? This one is a mess. Chance is on the floor. He's just thinking about getting up on the table. I don't know how their eyes get so nasty cruddy, but they do. You coming up? You coming here? All right, you go lie down. Go. Go on. Go. Go on. Come here, Chance. Come here. Come here. Here's Mr. Sponsor, number 2. Let's see if we can get him up here where he can get up here too. Oh, here we go. There we go. Okay. Whoop, don't get up there. No, that's a little too close, buddy. That's a little too close. How about right there? How about right there? That good? Okay. Now, now that we get everybody set. Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you what, Ian. And Christmas time, we paint Santa Clauses because my husband, a.k.a. Claus Man, he is a wood carver, so he carves Santas at Christmas time, and then I paint them. And every year, at least once, Chance plants himself right in the middle of my palette. Yes, so he is multicolored. Yes, always. So I'm grabbing quickly for baby wipes and cleaning off feet real fast. Yeah. It's quite the circus around here, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's quite the circus. All right, so thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Don't forget to check out Minding Your Muse. It starts on Monday. Monday, my birthday. I'm telling you, we got to celebrate. And so I will see you all on Monday, or I will see you live on Wednesday if you're in Minding Your Muse. I will see you back here on Friday for the next How to Get Creative drama-free stream. Okay? So it's great to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again very soon. So have a wonderful weekend, and yeah, don't forget, Minding Your Muse starts on Monday, so I'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.